Hey guys, and welcome to FanCast. We're very grateful to be recording from the historic St Kilda Sports Club, the oldest locker room in the Southern Hemisphere. Join us on the bench where we talk all things footy. We're fans, and this is FanCast. G'day FanCasters, and welcome to another episode here on the pod where we have a proper footy chat. It's your boy Joe here, joined, of course, by some very handsome faces. Swiz, mate, it's always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Joe. Glad to be here, mate.
Excellent. I'm going to be talking some trade stuff with you. I know you're all over the trades.
Well, the footy season's over, so, you're going to talk trades.
Mate, it was over for us a long time ago. Someone whose season wasn't over a long time ago, only just on the weekend it was over. I'm very sad to remind you about this, Steveo. Good to see you.
Good to be on, boys. Good to be on. A little bit disappointed, but that's all right. I'm very proud of the boys. It's been a great season. But, what sucks more is I don't get to see them for like 6 months. Yeah, along with all of our teams. So, But, very happy with the season. And, hopefully bigger and greater things in 2025.
You got to see them 2 more times than we did.
Yes, that's true. And I'll tell you what, the Dogs-Hawks game, that was the most fun I've had in a game of footy in years. That was super fun. Yep. I was at the gate, the MCC gate at 1:50. Had to stand in a single spot for 2 hours and 10 minutes until we were allowed to be let in. And ironically, the first AFLW game I ever went to as well.
Oh, there you go.
The curtain raiser before.
Mate, for those who aren't MCC like yourself, explain how that works. So gates open because, like, for myself, AFL member, I don't know what you are, Joe, but
no, I'm just asking member.
Yeah, so I can obviously upgrade my ticket and get a reserve seat for games which are for like that, where other games, like the lesser games, I can walk in and just sit wherever in my spot. But MCC, you guys can't actually reserve a seat. So how does that work? You line up a certain thing, gates open.
We can
reserve a seat?
Yeah. So I was trying to get tickets for that week heading into the game. I didn't realise the tickets were opening at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was at 10, and I saw at 9:15. I saw tickets are oh crap. So I had to, but I couldn't get a seat for me and my dad. What we had to do, because we're restricted members, and our membership got updated on the 1st of September to restricted members, which is an upgrade over provisional members, which we were for 6 years. And so we had the right to wait at the gate, go whenever and line up, and then you could sit. I think it was 6 bays in level 1. I think all of level 2 and a bit of level 3 were access to where you don't even have to get a ticket. I went to a final for free, boys. So So in that case, that's just free. You just walk in, get your seats. That didn't cost me anything for a ticket.
Just 2.5 hours of your time.
Yeah, and it was bloody worth it. That's for sure.
Which is interesting because for me, like, I could have gone on Geelong Brisbane and get a reserve seat level 1 undercover, but it cost me $190 to upgrade that on top of my membership that I pay. And I think we probably pay similar membership fees, but then they give you that option when you get games like this where you can walk in and line up and get in there early.
Yeah, exactly. You pay an annual fee every year, and now as a restricted member, I have access to go to whatever event there except the grand final. Where compared to my previous membership, it would be like finals, Dreamtime, Anzac Day, that sort of thing that you're sort of locked out on.
Yeah.
But once you become a full member, you can go to the grand final every year, that sort of thing. So I think my full membership will be in 6 years.
Okay. How long were you waiting before that?
So my dad put me on when I was born. Yep. So and the waiting list was 18 years to get access. So for any fathers out there, or future fathers, first thing you should do, not hold the kid.
Mothers as well.
Not hold the kid.
Yeah.
You go to the MCC and write your kid's name down. And because I think the waiting list now is like 26 years.
Yeah, something
because it extends every time.
Of course,
so
more people are.
I'll be able to get full membership when I'm 30, which is pretty cool. But I know it's a longer process now to get full membership now.
Get them signed up straight away. Put the kid's name down.
Yeah.
And then the wife finds out what the kid's name is, based on what you've already sent to the MCC.
I know we're digressing here, but it actually is interesting because as somebody who does travel interstate to go to different games, you kind of don't actually know what the setup of some of the grounds, especially when it's a ground you haven't been to for the first time. And we have a lot of obviously interstate travellers that come in for the games at Melbourne. I know Brisbane, my Insiders co-host Benny Boy took me into the Brisbane members there, and we get there, we get a little card, rip it in half, put it on our chair so we can go back to the bar and whatever. And then, at any point throughout the day, go back to our seat. Now, there's a little bit of an honor system there because I guess somebody can come past, take out your ticket, put in their ticket and whatever. But it seems like it works pretty well. So that's a good one. And where, you just kind of claim your seat and then you can rack off for a while and then come back for the game.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
No. And I did the same thing again. But this time I got tickets, so I don't have to wait in line for 2.5 hours, especially for a neutral game. Which, I mean, I'm not exactly. Better get to this Geelong-Brisbane prelim, but
no, it'll be. It's but
if I can get tickets, I'll take it.
The way both teams played, obviously Geelong didn't play this week; they played the week before. But the way these two teams have played coming into this prelim, it really could be an absolutely unreal game. One that you don't want to miss.
But it's anything like the semi-finals. Hopefully it's a cracker.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One more thing before we change topic is reserve seats for if you want to get a reserve seat for the MCC, if it's a big game, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
$12 a pop.
Wow.
So $12 each for a ticket.
Yeah, I think that's what mine is anyway.
Yeah.
So then if I want to take a guest in, it's
for a reserve ticket.
Something stupid.
So
I'll have a little freaking crack. My biggest issue with the whole for us at AFL membership, I feel like we're the only sport where it's like non-transferable members. I was talking to a Man City fan about this the other day, and my producer Dave will hate the fact I've worked Man City into this. But the guy, I was talking to him online, and he couldn't go to the event for whatever game it was. And then the membership team contacted him and said, "These are the ways just to help remember that you can transfer your ticket for that game. You can on-sell it, you can give it to a friend, whatever, because they want as many people at the game as possible. If people at the games, it's packed out, making sound. People are buying stuff at the bar, where I've had the complete reverse here at the MCG. Like somebody's taken a ticket that I know of, like another person, and they literally got caught out and they're like, okay, we're going to ban you from there. And I'm like, wouldn't you, especially games where it might only be 20, 25,000, wouldn't you be trying to get ways to pack the ground out rather than the complete opposite? Like to me, that doesn't ever make sense. And it's one of my biggest gripes about AFL.
We live in a police state. We live in a game. We follow a game that is so precious. Just look at the way they treated Ken Hinkley on the weekend.
Oh, here we go.
You know what I mean?
Great shift.
It's such a nanny state that we live in right now. And $20,000 to Ken Hinkley for that, like, get stuffed. Seriously, AFL
should have the game taken off them.
Yeah, exactly. Give it to the Hawk while you're at it. Why not? Why not? Now, I reckon we've got a Hawk here. I reckon. Right? We haven't discussed this in depth. I reckon you're going to say that $20,000 is excessive, isn't it?
Oh, I don't think he should have been fined anything.
There you go.
I actually think he should have, because it's not the fact of the AFL part to it. It's the example it sets for the lower levels. And you can't have, especially in junior games, coaches thinking that they can come on and abuse players. And we know it happens. Like there was a young fellow who was unfortunately hit and rushed to hospital on the weekend in one of the local footy games. So we don't want that situation too. But then we don't want parents and coaches then running on the ground and thinking they can mouth off or get involved in physical as well. So it's a setting example. So do I necessarily agree what Ken did was that bad? No, but it's the flow-on effect.
He didn't run onto the ground
but he's still
go straight for Ginnivan.
But then other like junior coaches see that and go, well, that's all right. We can go mouth off at opposition players. So that's where my feeling for it is.
Hopefully the opposition players also learn a lesson from Ginnivan. You don't want to do something so overtly stupid during the course of the week.
Well, but then isn't that for the players then to take retribution against him? I've got no problem with the players want to have a crack at him, but you don't want like coaches or the overseers getting involved in that situation.
Well, what's he done? He just said you're not flying anywhere.
Yeah, I know, but it got a little bit more heated than that.
I think the problem was Sicily coming in, and as is his right. Sicily's coming in, captain of the club, wants to fly the flag, defend his younger idiotic teammate who doesn't know any better, and That's perfectly acceptable to me. The problem is that I think it just went on for a bit too long to the point where they're about to chair off Luke Bruce. It gets caught by the cameras. Oh, something's going on down here. It wasn't between Hinkley and Ginnivan. Hinkley and Ginnivan was done in a second.
Ginnivan was laughing it off. I don't know if you've seen the angle, but Ginnivan was laughing it off. Like, yeah. So,
but it's just like you watch some of the footage, and the Port Adelaide players are trying to shake hands with Hinkley, and he's too busy with what's going on with Sicily and the original Ginnivan thing than actually shaking his own teammates' hands. So I thought it was poor from a senior leader of the club.
Yes,
but everybody's going to have a different opinion to this.
Look, it was definitely a sore winner. You get a bad winner. Like you can have a sore loser, a bad winner.
I got no problem with that.
Was he being a bad winner? A little bit. Like I definitely think he shouldn't be punished for what happened with him and Ginnivan, but the conduct unbecoming, I think he had to be more mature and not let it drag out so much with James Sicily. If he didn't drag on for so long,
he wouldn't have dragged it out for that long if Sicily wasn't mouthing for so long, though.
Well, I still think if you're a 60-year-old man dealing with someone who's not even 30 or maybe 30, like you're literally twice his age.
Yeah, but
like,
I don't actually agree with the whole age thing. I think the age has got nothing to do with it. Because you have different
experience.
People. Yeah, but at the same time, you can have some people who have life experience at 20 better than people who have life experience at 50. Now, we know Hinkley's got more life experience. But, I think it's just more the position that Hinkley's in compared to everyone else as a coach. And this is why they've brought up Clarko and his former things. There's plenty of other coaches who've got heated in the moment. Sheeds, Malthouse. But you can't have these guys coming on. I don't want to sit there and say instruct a player to go take the other player out. But in saying that, let the players deal with it on the field. That's not for the coaches to then get involved, and it's just the message that the flow-on effect of that.
Well, but so we can allow players to go after coaches because that's what Sicily did. Sicily essentially went out after the coach. It went on. It kept going on. In my opinion, I do think that Hinkley's got more life experience than Sicily, more worldly, should be able to withdraw himself, just laugh it off as just a bit of banter, mate, and walk away and not have it keep going on.
That's what Rosie and the other Port Adelaide players do. So they were showing a lot more maturity than what Hinkley was in the moment.
So I reckon 20,000 excessive, but I do think that I think 10 would have been appropriate because I do think that whilst banter should be encouraged in the game, and I had no issues with him and Ginnivan was laughing it off because that's what banter is. If you're about to dish something out, get ready.
At the same time, what's back. 10 grand to Ken Hinkley? Like, really?
I know.
The guy's probably earning 800,000 a year. So I don't mind the higher fine because, the reality is they earn a lot more money than probably most of the players out there.
But it's just to say that we don't exactly condone this 100%. And it's for the lower levels more so, like you were saying. Like I don't think necessarily it should be a punishment to Hinkley that he needs to fork out an extra $10,000.
They look at it and sit there and say, how do we send a message? That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Can I have my take on it?
Of course, go for it.
Okay.
No.
So I didn't really have an opinion besides get stuffed Ken Hinkley for the first 24 hours after the game because I was just salty. But I needed 24 hours to sort of recapture my head.
Understandable.
Because it was a disappointing loss. But I guess I've sort of come to it where I don't think there was much wrong with what Ginnivan said before the game. I don't think there was much wrong with what Ken Hinkley said after the game. There was no malice in either of the comments. I felt like Hawthorn would have said something by now if they knew that Ken said something personally or whatever, but it didn't happen like that. He just said, enjoy your flight to Sydney, blah, 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 blah. I thought Mitchell handled it poorly in the press conference where you had about 15, 20 minutes after the game in the rooms where you would have had the PR people telling him what to do. The fact that, I felt like he should have known that Ken Hinkley didn't say anything personal to Ginnivan or Sicily or anything. And just to bring up his age again, I just thought that was wrong. And then the same thing with Sicily, that just dragged on for too long.
Yeah.
I can totally understand Mitchell for defending his player, and I can understand Sicily for defending his teammate. I think it's a worse look if you don't do that.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just think the execution wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we see global sports around the world have this kind of banter.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was much wrong with what Hinkley said or what Ginnivan said, if it wasn't personal. So, yeah, look, I think
scheduling either the AFL, knowing how they do things. Round one or round two, you're playing. Port Adelaide.
We'll play them twice.
Round zero.
100%.
Round zero.
No, round zero, they're going to go to the Suns. That's they're replacing Richmond. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going to do this stupid opening round again, and it looks like it's going to be Gold Coast Hawthorn. I've said this here first.
Well,
2 months out before the fixture comes out. Watch it happen.
They're replacing Richmond.
The annoying thing, and sorry to take over from you here, Joe, it's taken away from the game. Like, we've got a 3-point game here.
Yeah.
Cracking game of footy. Unfortunate for the Hawks supporters, but it still nonetheless was a cracking game.
It was.
And everybody is talking about, instead of talking about this absolute classic contest.
Correct. If only Sicily put more time into nailing set shots and training as opposed to.
Well, it's funny, Sam Mitchell said about a week or so ago on the radio, like, if anybody is to take a shot in that situation, I want it to be James Sicily. So, yeah, that didn't work out well.
It looked good.
It did look good.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
I was riding it. My dad, bless you, Dad. He couldn't watch anymore. It was the pressure was too much. He's sitting on the couch on the side, and I'm commentating. It's going. It's at the post, and I just saw my dad just collapse on the.
I felt like the result was deserved though. Like, I thought Port were the better side. They were the better team won.
The better team going in.
And we got very lucky with a few of those goals.
The first three. Now, Aliir, he was holding control.
I thought the Deer one was there, but the other two more went put his head into the ground.
Yes.
What was the second? What was the second one? It was I forgot what it was.
Was that the Chol one or was that another one?
Chol.
Yeah,
Chol was done holding the ball.
Cold.
Yeah. And it was called a dangerous tackle.
Yeah, tackle. That was one of the worst decisions for the year.
Jones didn't even get fined for that.
That was
and they
awful.
called it a dangerous tackle. So, that was lucky.
And
and the old out of bounds. I think
It was out of bounds. It was the Hawks again in Adelaide.
Yeah.
That was out of bounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Old Kane clickbait Corns saying this is one of Port Adelaide's greatest wins ever. We know he loves the attention for putting crap out like that.
He does.
But geez, no mention the fact the Hawks didn't have all day. Yes, they were the informed team.
We're epic ski forward.
But Port, Mitch Lewis as well. Port at home, who
were a younger team though.
Yeah, but the stats had said
we were favourites as well.
But history has said once you get belted by over 50 points, you come back and win the next week.
True.
They would have had to break 25 years of history, maybe longer. Yeah, that wasn't happening.
The reason why Port Adelaide won was because they did that late change and took Charlie Dixon out. As soon as that happened, I thought, they're a chance here.
Yeah, that's right. They were carrying on Dixon's out. I'm like, please, they're actually a better chance now.
At least they're playing now with another person on the field. No disrespect to Charlie Dixon.
Charlie's been a great player for a long time, but
last week
it'd be like putting Tommy Hawkins out there this week. You're actually playing probably one short.
Do they bring him back this week though? That's the question.
No, I don't think
if they want to lose,
they can't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah. But I don't think they'll play Will Lorenz. I don't think they'll play a second gamer.
Well, I think we'll get on that game in a moment.
Yeah. We'll get on that game later.
Yeah.
In just the tips. But I know Jace Bergwijn was unreal.
He was. He's had a terrific season.
I thought he was their best player.
He was Bog, I reckon.
Yeah.
Best player for the Hawks, I want to almost say Scrimshaw.
Yeah, Scrimshaw.
I don't know how many times the desperation.
He saved our asses.
And saved your asses time
He saved our asses so many times that game. Yeah. It's an interesting one as well because I reckon Scrimshaw's had a better year than Sicily.
I agree.
But Sicily got in the All-Australian squad probably because of name.
They always do that.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's that one. We'll then move to the other one, the Giants and the Lions. The Giants are officially now the biggest choking finals team in history. No team has led by more at three-quarter time combined and lose both to go out in straight sets. They were in front, I think, for 97%.
Yeah, the score at one point of that game, 81-36.
44 points.
That is unbelievable. 81-36. No,
that'd be 80-36.
80-36.
Oh, was it 80-36? I thought I saw 81.
As you were saying that, I'm not trying to run the maths in my head.
Yeah. And nobody's talking about the fact that they had that heartbreaking loss also last year to Collingwood at the G.
So they didn't choke that.
No, they didn't choke, but that's 3 games in a row that they've absolutely had their hearts ripped out.
Yeah.
They'll have players leave now. There's no coming back from this.
They can come back. They're a good side.
They're a good side, but they'll get if they hit
that
finals
would be
next
very
year,
soul crushing. Like I felt
the
like
mental scars.
Yeah, especially as well considering how open the premiership race is, where it's tough enough for expansion clubs to win a flag. Could that be their goal? I mean, they're still a very good side. It's not the first time because we obviously had that 2016 against the Dogs. They had the chance like on a silver platter there, and the Dogs, obviously had that massive run, come and win the flag. Yeah, they would have ended up playing Sydney, Sydney Derby in the grand final. Knocked out by us in the prelim. We beat them in the grand final, and now they've had this probably maybe their best chance ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So credit to them because their path compared to the Suns in their short time in the competition has just been phenomenal.
But it will not yield the flag.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, would you rather finish top 4 every year and never win it? Or, you're happy to, finish down bottom 6 for 7, 8, 10 years in a row, but you come up and win it that one year, you're going to take the premiership.
The crazy thing is they were 23-0 in going into the Sydney final when they are leading at three-quarter time. They had never lost under Kingsley.
Yep.
When they're leading at three-quarter time.
And then they did it back-to-back.
They've done a back-to-back.
That's the thing. It's heartbreaking. I can't see how they come back.
It could be a question of how much Kingsley learns from this experience as well, considering that he'd never been in this situation before, and his players shut the bed.
There were panic moments.
I mean, look at Brett Daniels.
Yes.
Yeah, didn't do
Took
much.
advantage. It was a free kick, top of the goal square, takes advantage to soccer the ball out of the air and misses. And then you go down by under a kick.
They were getting those sort of hero moments like this game's won. A little bit like the week. It actually was a little bit different to the week before because the week before they went really defensive. This week they were kind of really on the full-on attack. And maybe they can find some balance there. But
it was too much.
Yeah. When you actually have the perfect opportunity, you've got that home final. The week before, you had the chance to not only beat the Swans, but then get a home from qualifying final this week, which would have been against prelim final against Port Adelaide.
Yeah, correct.
If they'd got through, but they've stuffed both opportunities.
Unbelievable. It was so crazy the fact that every time they got the ball, they would just surge forward at all costs and just give the ball back to Zorko, give the ball back to Archie, give the ball back to Berry, who I thought had a career best game. Ashcroft probably was the best midfielder on the field.
Yeah.
And now you're going to add to the fact that we're going to get Levi Ashcroft as well through the door. Make it fair. Bloody hell, man. These teams are going to get better.
Did you think GWS tagged the wrong bloke with Bedford? Should he have gone to Zorko, who sets up all their play?
Yes,
maybe.
I think so.
It's easy to say that because it's easy to say it now,
stuff
but
like that at half time. They were doing a great job on Neil. Like Lockie wasn't getting
GWS's midfield's strong enough to go head to head with Brisbane. Now, could they have made Lockie Neal play a better game? Yes, but the amount of play that Zorko sets up from this entire season, he set up so much of Brisbane's play due to Coleman being out. And obviously Zorko got an All-Australian blazer for doing that. But I just thought it was, shifting the magnets maybe. Maybe Hean's the last quarter. Ooh, better go to this bloke.
The early Cox head injury.
Yeah, that didn't look good at all.
Definitely didn't look good. I thought Harris Andrews was nowhere near contesting the ball. I don't want to openly say that Harris Andrews did a bit of a sniper move sort of thing, but to me, it sort of looked like Harris Andrews did a bit of a sniper sort of thing there. I'm just gonna say it. The ball was nowhere near him, and the way he tried to spoil the ball, no one spoils the ball like this. I don't know. It just felt like it was. I felt like he definitely was trying to mask his physicality by trying to go for this. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Can we talk about your boy for a second?
Oh,
big Joey Danaher.
I was hoping not to.
Did nothing for 3 quarters, and then just when it mattered, because some of his shots at goal early in the game
The
were
most
disgusting.
unpredictable
He
player
is.
I've ever seen.
And Lockie Neal was through all so he goes, you take the good and bad with Joe. Like, he's going to put up some real average.
Even his own
plays.
teammates are
That's
admitting
right.
to it. Where
Yeah.
it's just like,
But they're like, when the moment needed to be waited. And like, he was their best player in the grand final last year. He could have not done any more in that match. Again, when they needed somebody to come from nowhere. And I know it was breaking Essendon hearts on on X when I was having another socials when I was looking at it because they're like, this is what this guy can do. And he's when he's up and about, he's one of the better forwards in the league.
I just knew he was going to kick that.
Of course.
Outside of the field of play, on the wrong side for a left footer, with the game on the line. And I'm just like, of course he'll kick it. I thought he might miss the other one that was more straightforward.
I thought that as well.
25 metres, 30 metres out, not much angle. I thought, this is Joe. He'll miss this.
But I thought
He's got
Joe's
that
up and
dog in
about
him.
now. He's out up and about.
ice in his veins. Behaviour from Big Joe.
Just unreal.
I normally call him Judas Danaher, but on the stream on Monday night, I did say that he definitely deserved his name today. My name. He definitely deserves to be called Joe today, this week, after that incredible performance on the weekend. They were great. And again, another, Essendon player who's left us. I mean, Zerk Thatcher.
Could we get the Danaher Zerk Thatcher grand final matchup?
That's what you're dying to see. You're dying to say it will be. Zerk Thatcher will be killed. Unfortunately, he's got the reverse Coleman medal on him.
Well, there could be a chance. Well, I'm pretty sure any personnel from Essendon, from each club, will, it's a guarantee to win a flag.
Correct.
I think James Kelly.
No one at the Swans. No one at the Swans.
No, Aaron Francis will come in.
He's not going to come in.
That's that.
Frango won't come in. If
Give her a
Frango's
flag.
coming in.
I forgot about Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah. No
And then
worries.
you got Zerk and Big
That's
Joey.
who we want.
Zerk,
That's what
Joey, and for Geelong, we got no one from Geelong. And no one at Geelong.
No, James
Geelong-
Kelly.
What this doesn't
Yeah.
count.
He came from Geelong in the first place
Yeah, but then he went to Essendon.
as a top-up player.
So
And
did
became
Paul-
our best
so-
player.
So did Chapman.
Yeah, I mean, stakes were high that year for Essendon.
Chappie, mate.
I thought,
Bomber legend, mate.
Bomber legend. Speaking of...
Players that you forget played for another club.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Speaking of legends, mate, someone's been telling our good mate at the Welcome to Country some incredible legends about the lineage.
Needs to be talked
About the
about this.
lineage of the Aboriginal people and the Welcome to Country.
I'll just quickly start off because I
Go
know you've
for
got a lot to say about
No,
this.
you can
But
say it
no,
all.
because I'll comment about your comments in a
Excellent.
sec. But I was watching my wife. She sings opera classical.
Beautiful.
And there was an intermission. And so I was like, I'll quickly just check what's happening in the game. And my socials were just filled up with what was happening with the pre-game. I had no idea what the score was because everybody was talking about what you were about to talk
Everyone's talking
about.
about the pre-game. I'm not in my usual get-up. I'm not in the retro anything. I'm here in the Indigenous version, the Tip and Woody version here. Still Essendon. Don't worry about that. I haven't
I love the yellow in it.
I haven't relinquished Essendon, man. Don't worry about that. I'm still Essendon, man. But we're repping the Indigenous style today because we all love our Indigenous people here in this country. We always do our best to try and acknowledge them as often as we can, and we don't scoff at that. They've brought so much joy to our game. So many of our favourite players were Indigenous, and they've contributed so much to this incredible game of ours. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's been 250,000 plus years of it.
But BC
Before Cook. The first spoken language hasn't been around for 100,000 years. And we've got old mate here saying 250,000 plus years before Cook, and it wasn't made for white people. This is like, are you trying to be divisive? Like, this is a big game. We've had so many other Welcome to Countries which have been nothing but welcoming. The tone wasn't there. It was clearly speaking in a negative way towards the viewers. That's not a way that you're supposed to be welcoming people.
It's called a welcome.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
we didn't feel welcome. People in the crowd were laughing.
Yeah.
Even though some of the players, like I saw Josh Dunkley's face when he said before Cook, and you just see the face that Dunkley made. It's just like reverse racism is racism regardless of what it is. And if you want to give a welcome to country, be welcoming about it.
Okay, so I've lived in the Northern Territory in Indigenous communities twice in my life. I'm up there volunteering back. Yeah, it's probably nearly 20 years ago now. Loved my time up in Laramba, which is about 2.5 hours outside northwest of Alice Springs. You talk back then with the elders, and there's a couple of people I'm still in touch with. Their views have always been about anything to do with with this situation. Sellout, they're not real Indigenous people. Now, they are strong, and you go through, and I'm not talking about even like your Warren Mondines, which can be, I guess, an interesting political figure that some people sit there and go, is he a whatever, no problems. But there's plenty of other people who are Indigenous, who identify as Indigenous and it doesn't mean just because they weren't necessarily born in the Northern Territory, they might have moved around, but fair dinkum Indigenous people who are like, this shit is bullshit. We're like, there's nothing wrong with celebrating their culture, which people bring on.
Yeah.
You look at other countries around the world, you look at New Zealand, you look at the Maoris and the Haka and everything happens with there. It's fantastic.
Yep.
And that's what, and if it was done like that, so many people in this country, now you're always going to get a few flogs out there, but
Correct.
Majority of people in this country would 100% get behind and support it. But when you've actually got their own people sitting and going, this is a crock of shit, there's got to be a serious look at the future of how we do this. And maybe it's up to the AFL, maybe it's the councils, whoever employ these people, because they get paid to come out, need to be like really have a look through what they are going to say.
Yep.
Do a real background check. And if these guys are going to be decisive figures, go out and get actually some real traditional, true Indigenous people that are in support.
Did that guy do the Sydney Welcome to Country the previous week? Because I'm noticing a trend of it's the same people.
It usually is. Yeah.
The Victorian Welcome to Country man is the same bloke, same with South Australia. I don't know if that was the same bloke.
They got a monopoly on it, some of these people who come in and do it. And they're always got some sort of other agenda. That's I think a lot of the issue with it. But as you said, we go to Indigenous to the game with the Sir John Nichols game. Doug Nichols,
the execution,
Doug Nichols game for Richmond Essendon, and how the pre-game's done with that is a beautiful, spectacular event where everybody wants to get there and watch it beforehand, and I think Auntie Joy does that, and she usually does a really lovely welcome to country too.
Correct.
So why do we then get there? We fast forward to finals and we get a situation like this where everyone should have been just focusing on what a brilliant game of footy it was. Mm-hmm. But so much of the talk out of it was like, what the hell is going on here?
Exactly. We're not against it. We absolutely keep having the welcome to country as long as it's done well.
Yeah, and the problem is we don't need, they overdo it. We can get into all parts of life, but you sometimes go on a bus now and they're welcoming you to this bus and stuff. It's like, please, we don't need it. Some of the smoking ceremonies and everything are great. And they're great because they're, not thrown in you. If every time I walked into Coles, for example, and somebody welcomed me to country, did a smoking ceremony and that, it would lose all its value. So the big events, it's great to see you can actually do it properly and give it the justice that it needs.
Yeah. Doesn't it cost the AFL 10 grand per welcome to country?
Something like that.
Yeah, 10 grand. Gee.
And I was like,
I'm fine with it, but I thought he missed the mark there for that one. I mean, I think I reckon he's just tried to try to do a unique speech. When sometimes you just got to keep it simple and just the message is the message, and
and that's why I've got political for 2 seconds. We went through this whole thing with The Voice,
right?
And which really frustrated me because of the amount of money our country wasted on that. Where I've always seen, and anybody who's spent time in Indigenous communities, especially Northern Territory, WA, how much these communities base their world around football.
Yeah.
They are so into it. My community, Laramba, the students wore blue and white. North Melbourne pictures all up around the world, on the room, Kangaroo, the whole town's behind there. The local team, Laramba, how are the Laramba Kangaroos? You see how
North Melbourne has merged.
But you just see how passionate they are about their footy. So I would have rather either that money, you invest it in, if we're talking Tassie coming in as the 19th, Northern Territory 20th, and I know a lot of people say, how do we financially support this? Well, it's not necessarily about making money for that. but it's helping provide better opportunities, not just for Indigenous, but everyone up there in the Northern Territory who probably need a lot more support from us. But yeah, for Indigenous pathways, it'll open up a lot of employment. It'll open up, we'd get a lot more talented players because there's plenty of, it's no different to like you think about American sports where a lot of African Americans and whatever do not get picked up because they don't have the opportunity to go through private schools and stuff because the whole thing's based around the college system. It's becoming very much like this in the AFL now. If you're not in a private school, you're not getting picked up. And it's really hard for a lot of these Indigenous boys and girls, now that we have AFLW, to come to Melbourne and move and relocate, or even have enough scouts to go and find these talented kids. And a lot of them don't want to move away from home. So if you had that opportunity where there was actually a team, Alice Springs, Darwin, wherever, and they're not moving away from their family and the very traditional family values for a lot of the young boys and girls up there, we would actually, I think, not just prosper from an AFL community, but it actually would prosper for an Australia. But
very much so.
Here. All right, now we're gonna. So that those.
So let's have some. Let's go a bit more happy vibe and stuff like that.
It's all been a little bit.
Not to get too serious for our fans out there, but geez.
We've gone very serious.
It is, yes.
We've gone very serious.
Very passionate about it. Always have been.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we can't take away from the fact that this is a game. There's more to life than just football.
Is there?
There is.
No,
as much as you.
Apparently.
What are you going to do now? Football's done for you.
Cricket.
Get used to it. Embrace
Got my
it.
Cricket? If anybody's looking for a game one day, it's come down to Parkfield in Noble Park.
Yeah, no, we're still within the full swing of footy, guys, mate. How can you be possibly talking about cricket with the finals with how great this final series has been thus far?
It's been a ripping one.
It has been so good. There's only been, looking at from memory, there's obviously been the Geelong smashing of Port. Hawks casually dealt with the Dogs.
Swans Giants was a ripper.
But yeah, otherwise, all these games have been super close and haven't been decided by much. So
and not decided by the officials getting too much involved. I can't remember too many controversial. Whatever, probably would have been.
Yeah,
but
the world would have exploded.
I know my boss changed. My boss initially wanted the Hawks to win, but after seeing the umpiring, he's like, "Nah, I want Port to win now."
I understand that. Yeah, that was one of the best officiated games I've ever seen for some time for Hawthorn. So
I'm about the officials.
It meant nothing.
I don't like having a crack at the umpires, and this is not having a crack at them.
We love cracking. What are you talking about?
Did you guys happen to see, was it Old Camberwell versus, I'm not too sure the other school or the team they were playing in the VAPA? Was it the under-19s where there was the siren's gone and the umpires paid, umpires acknowledged that, but he's also paid a trip on the siren 70 metres out from goals.
Yeah.
And the winning team, all their fans have ran on. And because they've entered the field, they've played the field. This was even getting airtime on all the major networks yesterday. And yes, the umpire, which is in the rules, has paid the 50 for everybody entering. Guy has the shot 15 metres, 20 metres out from goal. Grand finals won. So very controversial decision on the weekend for the umpires. I think well done to that umpire for actually going the letter of the rule. But some people are saying, shouldn't the umpires have a better feel for the game? And this is always
should have been 50,
and this is always going to be the debate when we got controversial decisions, because there's so much, as much as it's black and white, there's so much grey with people's feelings about, should you have a feel for the game or that? But do we want umpires umpiring to the letter of the law, or do we want umpires, let's have a feel for the game? And
if they're going to umpire that way, if they're going to umpire by the letter of the law, then it has to apply all the time. I don't like it when they're going to umpire dangerous tackle, but they won't umpire contact below the knees, for example. When I saw quite a few times that in the desperation of trying to dive on the football, people's legs are being taken out. And it's just like, so this rule no longer exists in finals because we're playing finals. Either it's finals football and you put the whistle more away in general and you go for the feel of the game.
I reckon you got to put it more away in finals.
Or you play the technical ones and you maintain the technicality of upholding the rule book. You can't just pick and choose when you want to, what style of umpiring you're going to go by. But for the most part, I think the umpiring hasn't been incredible, I've got to say, in the final series.
No, it's been dreadful.
But not as bad as during the regular season. There's not been as many obvious we want one team to win, maybe apart from that one.
Yeah.
But Port Adelaide also blew a lot of chances. I mean, they had heaps of shots on goal that they just didn't convert as well. So banking is bad football. And if you just got to stick around until you get your momentum, and you did, and you almost got over the line. You never hit the post, just hit the post. I reckon you need 2 points for hitting the post. That's not easy to do.
That's impressive.
Bring back the Lightning Cup thing, 3 points, and then it's play on if it bounces here back in. The Lightning Cup,
that's
like 93 or something like that.
There's been a couple of AFL players say, I reckon that should be a rule where if it hits the post and bounces back into play, it's play on. I reckon that'd be sick.
Yeah,
without
that'd
the
be
point.
Sick.
It's just play on.
Yeah, it's just play on.
Without the point.
Oh, yeah. Like some actually say you could have the point, but I think, you could either.
If it stays in play, it's play on. I reckon that'd be sick.
Get rid of that and just, and no score.
Just set up. Well, that's the thing. Because if you score it behind, you've just essentially given the ball back to the opposition.
Imagine if the score counted, bud.
If it was a point and play on.
And it's play on.
That would be just...
Nah, that would be...
7-point play, mate.
Everyone would just aim for the post looking for a 7-point play.
7-point play. Yeah. But then how's the risk in that, bud?
No.
You want
the
goal
risk, high reward.
Nah, 0 points and it's just play on.
I actually want the 7-point play. I would love to see that.
Mate, we really are into silly season, aren't we, now at this point? Like, seriously.
Well, let's talk about these prelims, mate.
You want to talk about the prelims?
Yeah. We'll worry about the trade talk in a second, but the prelims.
Look, the prelims, this is more so of a just the tips sort of video, isn't it?
Well, no, I just wanted to actually just a little bit. Well, we can. Oh, we can do that separate. We'll talk trades.
We'll save it for the tipping video and we'll go into depth about the game.
You can clearly see this is organic shit. Like none of this is scripted, as you can perfectly see.
I was going to mention about these prelims, mate.
We have a bit of a run sheet, but nothing concrete.
I wanted to mention about the fact that these teams, their ruckman situation.
Yeah, go tell me.
Yes. So we've got the big O at Brisbane.
He's a gun.
He's a great player, but he wouldn't be in their top 10 players. He might be 10th, 9th. They've got way better players who are getting paid a lot more. Dano.
Sure, yeah.
You'd probably have Harris Andrews, Neil Dunkley.
Yes. Archie,
Zorko. Well, probably maybe not Archie at the moment, but
he was unreal on the weekend.
Yeah, but he's probably not getting paid.
It's not better than Big O. He's a role player.
Yeah.
I want to say Achu.
Ashcroft soon. Hipwood's probably on a good wicket.
Hipwood is shy.
Yeah, but he's probably on good money.
He's on
probably good money.
He averages number of disposals as he does,
but he's
years
still
on his contract.
Paid well.
It's still ridiculous.
That doesn't make him a good player.
Charlie Cameron can be
paid.
That doesn't make him a good player.
There's 8 names straight there. So you look at Port Adelaide, they've got Jordan Sweet,
mate,
who's doing a great job.
Hall of Famer, Jordan Sweet.
Cats have got Reece Stanley on any given week. It could be Blitzarves or whoever else, DeConning. Want to throw in there.
On you, Sam.
Sydney's the only one with the only legitimate top line ruckman in Grundy, who they've obviously chased this year. But it seems to be the case every year that the teams outside maybe Melbourne getting that flag with Gawn, you look through teams, and even the fact that Grundy
and got Jackson too.
Yeah, well, they had the double, so it was a bit different.
The double whammy.
But a lot of clubs always seem to win the flags with rucks who they've got from other clubs, and they haven't spent a huge amount of coins, especially haven't used a lot of trade capital to get them.
You guys let you down.
We're winning the flag next year.
I think they look good. I think they look good because of that. Meek didn't cost them much in trade. He's probably again he might be like the 10th highest paid player. He's not taking up a lot of cap.
He's very good.
Yeah, and he is, and he's very good. We had it with Nank.
Yeah.
You go through a Darcy Cameron at Collingwood last year.
Well, Nathan Vardy at West Coast.
Yeah, you actually go through the list of the last sort of 20 years and you have a look.
Besides Gawn.
Sort of Gawn and Dean Cox.
Yep.
Well, the reason why is
they're
because
either solid or good
like key
role player.
They're role player rucks that don't take up much of the salary cap.
They're just a body there.
That's it. And they compete. They're hungry, compete. So
Brent Renouf won a flag.
Jordan Sweet could be the premiership ruck. We could be looking at this situation. And I think it's a big thing where...
Well, I think all 4 rucks fit the criteria for this year.
Yes. So this is where the talk every year is this club needs to go get a ruck or, spend big money or you look at the most probably highest paid rucks in the comp. They're probably gone Rowan Marshall.
And probably Tim English now.
Those guys are taking up way too much cap space for those teams, I think, to be successful. because you literally got clubs who can go, well, that might be an extra 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 we can spend on getting an A-grade midfielder, getting the key forward we need. And I think more and more clubs surely are looking at this. And this is what we usually have, the ruck merry-go-round every trade period. That doesn't talk about this year.
The ruck what?
But merry-go-round.
He's still stuck up
I got
again.
there.
A ruck what? A ruck what?
So
Who gave up?
No, I'm giving up.
Sorry. I love you.
Thanks, mate.
I love you.
Appreciate it.
Wait, isn't there supposed to be now a Port Adelaide ruck who is in the wings now, refusing to be able to be played?
Soldo.
Poor Soldo.
Could be on his
Soldo's gone.
Wasn't there a report that he might want to leave again?
Yeah.
Of course, because they got
They're
Sweet in
linked
now.
to St Kilda, which is funny to be the backup ruck at St Kilda. Beyond Marshall.
Was it really St Kilda?
I've heard a rumor about
This
that.
poor guy is doomed everywhere he goes to be the backup ruck and never play.
Well, Braden Pruce, I think
He's the new Braden Pruce.
just retired, didn't he? That he's
Oh,
13 years of
no.
being a backup ruck.
Oh no, he needs to go to Tassie.
Where would actually? I'm trying to think. Is there a club that it's as obvious for Soldo to even go to at the moment? Because most
I don't
clubs,
think he gets a game for any.
yeah, there probably isn't.
I don't think.
Even if he goes to Gold Coast with wits on, at his ends wits,
Ned Moyle's better than
he's going to have
Soldo.
Moyle exactly in the back. Big O for Brisbane. Grundy for the Giants. You got Briggsy. You're not going to kick him out. Here, there's no teams.
Some of these rucks make good careers of just being the backup ruck, bud. It's like being the backup
If it gets food on the
quarterback.
table,
What about West
I would
Coast?
say, well, I think West Coast are better off just persisting with Bailey Williams.
That's right.
Because Solo might be better right now, but Williams can get better
Carlton
than
signed
Soldo.
up Pitt in it. Like the funny thing is, the one club that doesn't actually have a real set light ruck is Geelong. And this is the discussion every year is like,
Soldo, go to Geelong, man. Soldo, they're in a prelim if you haven't noticed. You got to join the winning side. Yeah, you won't be paid much. And you might have to play in the back line every now and then or forward. But you're a chance to finish top 4 and make a prelim. That's a pretty good deal.
So talking about players, well, I'll throw the names out and we'll see. You guys can tell me if they're definitely on the move or and stuff like that.
we're up the trade.
We'll segue that in. So Alex Nilborn.
He's gone. Adelaide.
First trade done for the trade
In the
period.
first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they've already agreed on the trade.
Yeah.
Pick 25 for him.
They're just not allowed to do it now.
Yeah.
They would have done it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I like it. Bailey Smith.
He's
Oh,
gone.
he's going Geelong. 1,000%.
Yeah.
It's been 18 months in the works.
It has.
We had the Geelong Insiders last week. Great episode, by the way. If you haven't, it's
What did they say?
mate. Bailey looked a lot like Brad Close, or is that just me? Did you watch last week's episode?
I may have.
I want to
He
slap
did.
you after
He did.
this.
No, I agree.
Fancaster.
I agree. Yes, no, I do. I did watch it.
Great. I'm glad to know.
I'm a fan of
very
you, Joe.
professional. Of me? No, of the show, mate. You're part of the show.
I watched it and I
Yeah.
definitely agree.
You
Yeah.
definitely agree.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, no, he's gone to the Cats.
All right, so we got Battle and Barassa. I think we can lock
Yeah.
on
The Bombers.
for the Hawks.
The Bombers. The Bombers.
Rioli and Noble, I'll group those two together because it looks more and more likely they'll both get to the Suns.
Suns, Gold Coast.
Yeah.
You want to dimmer.
Collingwood should ask for pick,
Add Dusty as well.
Collingwood should ask for pick 12.
I don't think they get it, bud.
They don't get 12.
No, they gave up pick 2 for Lockie Weller.
Yeah, I know.
It might not happen, but it's worth a shot.
you've gotta ask.
They're going to give up 6 for Rioli.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love
The
it.
Suns are disgusting.
come
Oh, yeah, add
on.
Dusty Martin to that list.
Yeah, well, we'll get to Dusty.
Add Dusty, please.
Well,
Yes.
it's-
I'm just giving the locks straight off.
It's not.
Yeah, it's
So-
a lock as
The
well.
lock.
Dusty's
Oh,
gone.
that's right.
It's not the thing he created, all right?
Yeah. The
I'll tell you-
and
I'll
the
tell
one
you
that's coming
who-
out today,
I'll tell
Jack
you-
McRae.
Yeah, to St Kilda.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who did create it. Damo, super coach, and I can't believe I'm
Damo.
gonna. I can't believe I'm gonna.
The Freo Damo?
I
Yes.
can't believe I'm gonna
On your dad.
plug another podcast on a podcast. But
What?
in this trade period, me and Damo will be teaming up to do a Supercoach trade period podcast. Every single day we'll be recording an episode, so make sure
When's
you tune in
this?
for that.
Mad invite.
Yeah.
How come I've never heard of this?
Yeah, I know.
No,
Mad, what an invite.
Me
We'll
and,
do our own.
me and Damo have been talking to each other, and we've set up a podcast together
It's like that.
for the 10-day trade period sort of thing.
Oh.
So yeah, if
Or tune
you're
into the
not
rival
watching FanCast,
podcast.
watch that.
You can clearly see this is entirely unscripted now. What is going on?
All right. right, so let's get to the probables. Dan Houston, where do you think he's going?
Dan Houston stays.
He's going to Carlton.
Staying? Carlton. Interesting.
He's best mates with the Carlton players. So, I mean, I think it will happen.
I mean, the Carlton guys can be pretty cool. I mean, you can be friends with someone without necessarily being asking for a trade. I reckon he's staying.
I reckon it will happen.
Talking about Carlton, Nick Hayes.
That's already confirmed, I think.
Unrestricted.
Yep. Elliot Himmelberg.
He's going to Gold Coast.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about him with the Giants last year that joined his brother. But, yeah, it looks like he's going to head up to the Suns this year.
Probably because Gold Coast probably have a bit of cap space, and I don't know how they pay the most average players $800,000 a year, but
it's the Suns.
Mac Andrew, 12 million over 9 years.
Oh,
look, he deserves it. The guy's a cheat code. He can do anything. He's the Kevin Durant of football. He can do anything. Kevin Durant?
No, who are you comparing Kevin Durant to?
Mac Andrew.
Not yet.
He can do it, mate. I've seen it. What?
Kevin Durant?
Any credibility we had just gone out the door.
He can take big pack marks, kick goals after the siren. He can go back behind the play. He can do. He's got X factor. He's got ice in his veins.
Kevin Durant can do all that.
No, Kevin Durant can't do that. You're right. He's better than Kevin Durant at football.
All right. What about James Peatling? A lot of talk about him.
I reckon he's staying.
You think he's going to stay now with the other
I think he's committing to the Giants.
exits going? Harry Perryman. A lot of talk about him going to the Hawks.
Yeah, the talks, seems like most of the time Port's been in front, and I think I forgot who the reporter said, but I think there was someone that reported that there's a 6-year deal with a trigger for a 7th.
Wow.
For Harry Perryman.
Is that their direct replacement for Houston going? Or do you think he plays more wing?
Nah, they're not the same player. Perryman, you can put him anywhere and he'll do a role for you.
Yes.
And I think that's super valuable in today's game where we see so many players switching roles, that sort of thing, in-game adjustments, where Perryman can play back, he can play half forward, he can play on the wing, he can play in the guts.
He can play on the
I think he's just a good flexibility player to have in your best 22. So I can understand the appeal. So I reckon he's going to Port.
I was going to say Wade Dirksen, but we're actually...
Well, he's going to Melbourne.
He's going to Melbourne.
Yeah.
But the big one there, North Melbourne,
yes.
they were looking at Tim Membry, and now they're all their eggs in the basket for Jack Darling.
Sounds like it's done,
He's
isn't it?
passed the medical.
Like it's done
passed
too,
the
yes.
medical with him. Multiple year deal.
Yeah, very interesting for a guy that probably looked nearly done at West Coast, that they've decided to go Darling over Membry.
He was cooked up until this year, halfway through this year. I watched some of these West Coast games because they were actually playing decent, entertaining football. And from what I've seen, Jack Darling was actually busting his gut and trying. And
I actually reckon it's a good move.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon he's a different forward to Larkey. He can absorb a bit of the pressure as a leading forward. And we know that North Melbourne are just dying for help for Nick Larkey up forward.
Yes.
He's not like Larkey's more your stay-at-home forward where Darling can push up the ground. We've still seen that, even though everyone thinks he's cooked, that sort of thing. But he can push up the ground. He's a different type of forward that will help Larkey.
Larkey wins the Coleman next year.
Okay, I'll word it this way. Should North have gone Darling, Membry, or both?
Well, I guess there's no guarantee that Membry's going to come there. So if they...
There was definitely a discussion between both parties.
Yeah, but I mean, if you... you jump on the player that says yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, if Membry as well, I mean, I think they'll say yes to that
especially
too.
with North Melbourne's
the
incredible record of drawing people.
That they've kind of taken a step back with Membry because they're all in on Darling.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting because especially with Darling's body, that I think that I could have seen a world where they could have had all three.
I mean, he plays most weeks as well. Too. I mean, he plays most weeks as well, doesn't he, Jack Darling?
He does, but he's still, he's getting older in age.
He's getting older, but he plays most weeks at his age where I think he's just kept his body in good nick.
Membry can also play as a sort of swingman when late in the quarter to prevent any last-minute goals.
Yeah, red time goals.
He's very good at doing that.
I just think a bloke that has won a premiership, been involved at a good West Coast Eagles football club culture, can come into North and just sort of help out the young forward line as well. So I have no problems with it.
Yeah.
I reckon both is the play.
Last two, it's the Saints apparently for Adam Tomlinson. I guess it's a replacement for Josh Battle.
Yeah, it's a good short term adjustment because everyone's saying, Ari Schoenmaker will replace him. I don't think they're the same player. They're not the same player. Schoenmaker's your lanky halfback flanker. I haven't seen any evidence for him. He's not a second or third tall.
No.
Well, he could eventually become that, but I think Tomlinson's a good short-term fix. I mean, it's not the result. It's not the answer, but it's a short-term fix while they sort that out.
I can see him being another Luke Ryan with his build.
Another Luke Ryan?
Yeah, Sean Maker.
I thought you were talking about Tomlinson.
Yeah, definitely not Tomlinson.
No, Sean Maker. I think Sean Maker can end up
Something
being
like that.
another Luke
that
Ryan.
Kind of size.
That kind of size that isn't necessarily playing accountable one-on-one defense.
But good foot skill.
Yeah,
with
just
the
stay
foot
well
skill,
behaved,
yeah.
son. You've had some dodgy history heading into the draft. So
A lot of dog history.
And the last one, we got to mention is Dusty.
Dusty.
So personally, as a Richmond supporter, I can't say I don't speak. I speak for other Richmond supporters because I know I don't. But I actually personally have no issue with it. The only thing I'm annoyed at is why this didn't happen 2 years ago. We could have got something more.
So you do have an issue with it?
No, that's my issue because it's just about we could have got some better trade capital for him. But outside of that,
but you wouldn't have had 90,000 plus there to watch his 300.
well, I think
Big deal.
We could have still had 90,000 for his 300. They could have just played it as Richmond Gold Coast at the G.
You'd have to just be sick a few times here and there.
I mean, I guess looking at his messages during his fairy tale final season, I don't think he's ever really said, that'll be the last you see of me. It was just more him thanking Richmond and that sort of thing. When he probably knew all year in the back of his head. I mean, I've got Dimmer up in sunny Gold Coast who's willing to give me a call. So yeah.
Yeah, these Richmond people, man, honestly, like just it's all too much. I'm done. We'll go travel for a little bit. We're all burnt out. And then the next year, all of a sudden, you find themselves in different colours at the Gold Coast Suns. Like, come on, guys. We've seen this script
I can live with it because I'm like, it's where the club's going. You still love the club, but you still love the player. Like some people say, I can't love watching another player in another colour. Well, they still played for you. It's no different like people in work, local sport, whatever. I always think they still have that connection to it. So I wish him all the best. Personally.
I also reckon it's probably first off, it's great for memberships, that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course.
Gold
100%.
Coast tourism, that's what they need, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But as well, I reckon they would have added maybe a little coaching aspect to that. And not as a coach. I don't think that's his sort of style.
Coach?
Leadership?
No, maybe more like just
more media.
No, not media. Definitely not media.
No, it would just be like a behind closed doors sort of role.
Sure. Yeah,
maybe meeting up with
the players did talk to about that. Like he is really good behind closed doors. So you get that. What about your boys and that? There was this apparently rumor about Zach Merritt, the captain.
It's Tom Morris bullshit all over again. You struck and you miss all the time.
And it was an interesting discussion reading the Essendon.
Never going to happen.
The Essendon forums, but because the problem with these sort of deals, we saw with Petrarca, that they don't ever get done, is because the capital that the other club has to give up. So they could have got to give up the world to get someone like Merritt.
And the universe.
But if a club is willing to give you the world, let's just say because we see this in more American sports, a club is willing to give up the world. And surely, like in essence, of course, we're saying this, you've got to then consider it. Like,
what is the world? What is the world?
The
from
world
St Kilda.
The world would have been 3 first rounds and a player.
3 first rounds and a player?
Yeah.
Who's this player?
Well,
Nazaya, Wangan Miller? All right, we're talking.
Well, this is what we're talking about, depending on what the player is.
It'd be funny if it was the player that they passed up on, Filippo.
Yeah, I know.
To take
100%.
Sardis. No, we regret it. We apologise, but Doreen, there's no hard feelings here. Filippo, we love you.
Yeah.
We always wanted you. So
He is not Zach Merritt.
who?
And draft picks aren't Zach. How many draft picks are going to end up being
Zach
Zach
Merritt's so important to Essendon's culture.
but he's going to be 29.
If he went, Essendon's culture is already here.
Yeah.
Imagine if Zach Merritt goes. That's just proper.
It's just blow
in the
up.
talk.
Just blow up the club.
Andy McGrath's your captain, probably.
Oh,
do you
shit.
do you commit? But then are you as a club then committing to the full-on rebuild, and you'd have to go down that
Oh,
path?
if Zach Merritt gets traded out at
you're
any
trading
point,
others. Yeah.
I want the entire board and the administration, even the people who clean the boots. I want everyone, all the sponsors, they can all get traded out as well, because Zach Merritt is the Essendon Football Club at this point. He embodies everything.
To me, I don't love that attitude because I'm like, every player is tradable for the right price.
No.
Yes.
No, you don't.
No,
Yes.
not for cultural purpose, not for leadership purpose.
No, 100%.
For what he's given to this club for no return.
But if he wanted to go, every player's got the right
he
price.
did. He sat there and assessed his options.
Yeah,
for
I know.
a
I'm
long
not saying he's
time.
going. I'm saying, but if he came out tomorrow and said, you know what, I do want to go to St Kilda.
If he says that,
Yes.
then that's a different story.
Yeah.
But he hasn't said
But
that.
I still, I know, he hasn't said that.
So
But I'm saying if he
hypotheticals, like honestly, if Zach Merritt said, I want to go and play for the Tasmania when they come out, he's got my full blessings. If he comes out and says, I want to play for West Coast, I want to join Harley Reid, why not? Like, I have no qualms whatsoever because this man has given all of himself to this club. And honestly, at times I say we don't deserve him because the guy is an absolute superstar, and the way he's been treated at times by his peers, voting him out of the leadership group, is something that I'll never forgive them for either. So if he comes out and says, I want to trade out, I will be heartbroken. And every Essendon supporter will be absolutely devastated because it knows what it means.
Especially
It means
to
that this
St Kilda.
club-
Of all clubs. That's the ultimate punch in the guts.
That's right.
If he comes out and says, I want to go to St Kilda, it just goes and it will hit every Essendon supporter's soul because they know that the last 20 years of no finals win has been for nothing, has been absolutely fraught, there's been no development, no learnings, no nothing done, and we've hit rock bottom, and the club essentially has to completely rebuild. The list has to be
talking
blown
about
up.
Essendon? What do you know about this rumored board challenge for the Bombers?
No, there's nothing happening.
Nothing.
I'll
What
be
was it?
president soon.
Board challenge for the Bombers coming up, potential.
A board challenge?
Yeah.
Doesn't that happen every year?
Yeah, boards don't mean
Yeah.
Isn't there someone always leaving the board?
just watch that space.
What's in a board?
Well, you get the president, the CEO, all that sort of stuff, mate.
Yeah, stuff them.
They're the
What
ones
do they do?
they're the ones that employ the coach.
Well, Kevin
all that sort of
Sheedy's
stuff.
like...
Brad Scott's not
Well,
getting
Kevin
moved
Sheedy's
on.
got kicked off. That's why it's kind of
Yeah, that was probably the right move. I think
but that's
just-
where apparently maybe
Essendon
the
legend,
working
but, yeah.
backs of this board challenge. may come
apparently, he was just
from. Well, I've seen
shocking.
it done. Like Richmond had to deal with it in 2016, and they managed to. The board stayed on, and then look what happened. It was a positive thing, and it's not the only club to be in that situation. But there's always going to be people outside clubs that aren't happy with the way clubs are going and think they can come in and do a better job. And then it becomes the members. Which way do they want to go?
Now, Brad Scott's been there for 2 years. Like
I know.
even if the board was completely churned out and someone new was coming in, Brad Scott's job is safe and secure. He's not going to get moved on before the end of his contract.
That's what boards say all the time. The coaches.
Mate, if Brad Scott is moved on before the end of his contract, then the club truly is an absolute
How
basket
long
case.
is the contract?
He's got a 5-year contract. He's had 2 years.
I don't think he's going anywhere. But if you ever have a board change, and I'm not saying this board group will get up or even get voted in or anything like that, and it's not necessarily just an Essendon, it's a general thing. Anytime a club has a board change, they've got ideas of usually that are going to replace staff. A lot of the time it's the head coach. So I don't know how this all formulated, if it just goes away, or if it actually does grow legs with the people who are behind the scenes. Some of them, if they've got money, they become very influential, and then they get members on side. And obviously, with everything that's been going on from Essendon's point of view, their results, you only need some really strong figures who come in and say, "No, we think we can do a better job." And then all of a sudden, people, are looking over their shoulder at the club because they're like, "Oh, new board, things are going to change."
Well, things have already changed. And one person who refused to leave and was absolutely embedded in the club for the longest period of time during this entire time where we've had our drought is Adrian Dodoro, and he's out the door. Finally out the door.
Aren't you mildly worried that
Rosa?
He had, he was sort of teaching Rosa the ropes?
Yeah.
No, I think Rose is clearly different because we're adopting a hardball stance on quite a few of these players. Because we're adopting a hardball stance on a bunch of these players. Stringer, we've told him, we're playing hardball with you, mate. You have to earn your contract. We're not going to extend you right now. We've told other leaders of the club, like Jaden Laverty, for example, to go and explore his options elsewhere. We've actually now.
He might go to Williamstown.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
He's
You know,
terrible.
Kelly, he's now retired as well before the end of his career.
Yeah, but that wasn't a list call, was
He's
it?
been pushed out. So there's a bunch of people at the club now, players who aren't having it their way anymore. And for the longest period of time at Essendon, players have had far too much power, and things are now different. It's taken a different turn. And finally, I think we're getting that ruthless. I don't want to say this word, but stuff that crap. We've got a ruthless edge about us now, and
Here we go.
And you're gonna have to, and you have to really make sure that every list spot in the team, you deserve it, and you need to be in there. Kane Baldwin's been relegated. He's now going to be training on a rookie contract to try and get back onto the seniors.
Who?
Kane Baldwin. I'm really happy about that.
Oh, I thought you got delisted.
But he's training with the club to be on the rookie list.
Okay.
So I don't mind that. I like him as a player. I do think that he definitely shows promise. And so, you know, we're making some hard list decisions, and I'm really keen to see us actually climb up the ladder next year. We've had 2 years of it almost looks like a false dawn, improvement, and then capitulation at the end. You can't keep doing that. I'm really confident that next year we're going to learn from those mistakes. We're going to learn from those mistakes. Third time's a charm. And you watch, we're breaking our drought next year.
Essendon fans deserve it.
Thank you.
No.
They deserve it.
Before you wind this up and we get into the whole tipping part of it,
Yes, please.
just had a question from a fan, and thanks Timmy Ward for the question.
Oh, we got the mailbag.
We
segment,
do.
we?
What is your
Debut.
What is your tip for the Brownlow medal,
Paddy Cripps.
Dave?
Oh, Dacos.
I'll go Lockie Neal.
There you go. Thank you, Timmy. Anyone else wants that? Anyone else wants?
Feel free, send us a question.
Send us a question every week.
Wait, when's the Brownlow?
Is it Monday night?
Is it next Monday?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
That's why the question.
Yeah.
Hence the question.
Well, glad we did that.
Hawks are
Because
a bit slow on the uptake at the moment. Still
That's right.
recovering from the shock.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the question, Tim.
Anyone else who have any random questions that you'd like? That wasn't a random question, Tim. That was a great question. Very timely, opportune. Anyone else have any questions? Please feel free to comment down below or hit us up on Twitter or Insta or TikTok, whatever. We're on all those platforms.
Just pop by Joe's house, you know. Anyway.
yeah, knock on his door and just ask questions.
Or just literally put it in my mailbox.
Yeah.
For the mail. Or you can ask us live and in person in our grand final
Grand final show.
Grand final show.
Yes.
Grand final Eve. These boys will be there.
We will.
Yeah.
More importantly, though, we're going to have some Spike and Joe Mercedes, Anthony Koutafidis, Simon Black, and Brody Holland Dutchy. So we're going to have a wonderful night, guys. Unlimited beers, thanks to our friend at Tradie here at the glorious St Kilda Sports Club. So make sure you buy your tickets.
Free
All the
food as
socials.
well.
There's food, unlimited
Probably
drinks.
prizes, giveaways. You'll meet our producer,
Prizes,
Dave.
giveaway.
He'll
You'll meet
talk-
Dave.
he'll talk-
Great God.
He'll talk UK and South American stuff with you, and yeah, it'd be great.
Take some selfies with some famous Hall of Famers and Dutchy. And so we'll have a wonderful time, guys. We'll have an incredible time. So head on over, subscribe, like, share, all that wonderful things, and stay tuned for the Just the Tips video on the other side.